everyone, my name is Sahithi and I'm a volunteer here at Get Ahead Tutor. Today we're going to dive into how to create a resume for a high school student. As a high school student, you might be wondering, what are the reasons I need a resume and what is a resume? A resume is basically a way to help people better understand what your interests, experiences, and skills are. You can provide them to college counselors or teachers who are writing your college recommendation letters. You can submit them as supplements to your college applications and scholarships. And lastly, you can use them to apply for summer internships, research positions, or pre-college immersion programs. Now that you have an idea of kind of how a resume should be used, let's dive right in. The first section of your resume is the header. This section is pretty straightforward. Include your full name and then include contact information. We've chosen to provide home address, phone number, and email address. The next section is the education section. Start off by listing the high school you attended along which the city is located in and your graduation date. On the next line, include your weighted and unweighted GPAs and class rank. Lastly, include any noteworthy coursework. This is coursework which was non-standard and taken on your own accord. It should be used to help highlight areas of interest that you have and that would also be of interest to your potential college or employer. Next is the awards and honors section. Make sure to list any awards and honors you received during high school. Start with the most recent award or honor you received and end with the least recent. The next few sections of your resume are work experience, leadership experience, extracurricular activities, and volunteer experience. It is important to list these 4 sections in the order of importance to you. Ask yourself, which of these sections will highlight your strengths and passions the most, and list that one first. Additionally, there is no need to have all 4 of these sections in your resume. If you didn't work any jobs in high school, leave that section out. Before we dive deeper in how to fill out these sections, let's walk through some example personas and the order they should list these sections in. Our first persona is a male soccer team captain who would like to attend university on a soccer scholarship. Outside of playing on his high school soccer team, he also volunteers at a local middle school and works a part-time job as a library assistant. This person should list their leadership experience section first and then their extracurricular activities sections. These 2 should be the first 2 on their resume because they highlight the importance and time they placed on soccer throughout their high school career. Next, this person can list volunteer activities and work experience in the order that they see appropriate. Our second persona is an aspiring neuroscientist. She spent 2 summers working as a research intern at a UC Davis research lab. Additionally, she volunteers at an Alzheimer's health center for 6 hours a week and was a biology TA for 1 semester 2 years ago. This person should list her work experience first as it directly correlates to her interest in being a neuroscientist. Next, she should list the volunteer activities section because she spent a large chunk of her time during the school year working at the Alzheimer's Health Center. Her work at the Alzheimer's Health Center shows that she is not only interested in the brain at a biological level, but she is also interested in how it affects people's lives. Lastly, she should include her leadership experience section. In this section, she would include her TA experience. This section would be last because although being a biology TA is super good experience, it was something that was short-lived and a long time ago. When listing entries in these 4 sections, a very simple methodology can be followed. Just make sure to follow the 3 guidelines I'm about to tell you now. The first and most important thing is making sure that you very clearly state what you worked on and how many hours you worked on it per month or week. This will help your audience better understand how your time is allocated. For example, if you worked at a coffee shop for 15 hours a week in high school, your audience will implicitly understand that that is the reason your extracurricular section is slightly shorter. The next thing is to be very specific about the roles and responsibilities you had during this experience. In most jobs or roles, you're going to be working on a team. It's important to distinguish between what you did and what the rest of the team did. Lastly, quantify your impact. Help your audience understand the value and extent of the work you did by including as many numbers as possible. Now that we have these general guidelines, let's walk through a few examples to get an idea of how we can apply these when we're filling out our own resumes. This entry makes it very clear in the first line itself what the person did and how much time they dedicated towards it. They were a volunteer at the UC Davis Health Center. They spent 30 hours a week there for one summer in 2015. Next, they're extremely detailed about what their specific work was. They had to reach out to hospitals to gather images, and then they had to train a machine learning model using those images. Lastly, they make it very clear what the impact of their work was by using lots of different numbers, 20 different hospitals, 1,000 images, and 90% accuracy. All of these things help the user really get a strong understanding of what the person did during their volunteer experience and what the impact of that work was. Our next example is that of a cashier at Pinkberry Yogurt. Clearly, it's very obvious what they did just from that title. Next, the duration of what they did is clear from the dates, August 2014 to June 2015, and 15 hours per week. Next, they're very clear about what they did. They were a cashier, so they operated a cash register, but they also implemented social media marketing strategies, which shows that they went above and beyond their job. Lastly, they add lots of numbers, 40 transactions per hour, they increase sales by 15% in 3 months, and 50% of the months of their employment, they were awarded Employee of the Month. All of this reflects very positively and shows the typical cashier job that a lot of high school students do in a very positive light, and it also highlights a lot of the skills that this person has. The skills section is the last section that should be on your resume. This section should categorize and list relevant skills that you have. Make sure to only include things that your audience would find relevant, interesting, and useful. And make sure to fill it up with lots of keywords and buzzwords that your audience might be looking for while sifting through resumes.
Now it's your turn to try. Use the resume template linked below to create your own resume. It's exactly the same template we used in this video, so it should be super easy to get started.